Ollie was in line at his favorite coffee shop. It was like, I don't know, 12:30 or so. Just after noon, I mean. He was just getting a coffee, nothing, no big deal. Nothing unusual about it. He liked to get coffee there and just sit and read or work on the outside seating, watch the people go by. When when it was his turn to give his order to the clerk, the clerk said, "And I don't know, is your little friend having anything?" And I was confused. My little friend? Oh, is she not with you? I thought she was with you. Sorry. I looked behind him, and there was a small, a doll. It had the head of a star, kind of a golden yellow color star, and like regular arms and legs and stuff, although doll sized, and a pink body. And I had never seen it before, so he turned back around and said, "No, I don't know anything about that. Just me, like usual." I said, "Okay, sure. What are you having?" I said, "I'll just do a drip coffee, medium, and do you have any of those scones?" He said, "Yeah, we have chocolate chip scones and bacon cheddar scones." I said, "Great. Let me get I'll do a bacon cheddar scone. I'll sit outside to get it." I said, "Okay, great. We'll bring it out to you." So I paid. He made his way outside. We went up the stairs to get up to the street level because the shop itself is kind of a little bit below ground. He heard a little step behind him, and there behind him was the star head doll thing. I said, "Huh, that's weird." He kept walking and went over to his seat, and the star head doll followed him. I thought, well, that's strange. Didn't do anything. It didn't say anything. I got to a table and sat down and got his book out. He was reading. And the doll just kind of stood there. I was pretty sure he'd seen it walking, but I mean, it had to, because here it was. It was all very strange. I tried to ignore it. The coffee and the scone came out pretty quickly. And the barista laughed. "Are you sure you don't want something for your little friend there?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know whose doll this is. Or why. I don't even know how it got out here, honestly. I was not paying attention." I said, "Yeah, okay. If anybody comes asking for it, I guess I can take it behind the counter. Or I'll put it up on the counter. And then if somebody comes looking for it, we can make sure they get it." I said, "That's a good idea." So the barista picked up the doll and took it inside and set it on the countertop next to the cash register. And Ollie drank his coffee, had his scone, and read for a while. He was there for probably, 45 minutes or so. And then he left. He was going to meet somebody to talk about a case over at the sculpture garden. So he made his way over there. And when he got across Charles Street, he just happened to turn around and notice the doll was there again. It was on the sidewalk about 15 feet behind him. "Oh, creepy," Ollie said. He kept walking. Now he felt like he was being followed. He turned around quickly, and there the doll was, now about 10 feet behind him. He went back to walking, now feeling very worried and a little disturbed. Walked toward the corner. He turned around, and the doll was there, now 5 feet behind him. He kept walking a little further and turned around. The doll was 3 feet behind him, and he said, What's going on here? What's your deal?" "Talking to you, little starhead doll. What's your deal?" And the doll nodded, did 2 little hops, and then waved its little arms and looked for all the world like Ollie like it was beckoning him to follow. And it turned and started walking. It walked for, I don't know, 6-7 feet, and then it turned around and looked. Its facial expression didn't change at all, but it seemed to be looking expectantly at Ollie. Ollie sighed. He took 5 paces toward the doll. As soon as Ollie started walking toward the doll turned and started walking. Ollie stopped. After a few more paces, the doll stopped and turned around. It stared. Ollie sighed. Hold on a second. He called up the person he was going to meet. It wasn't an emergency. The lady also lived nearby. He said, hey, Marge, listen, something weird has come up. I think it's some sort of weird case. I don't know. I think I have to deal with it now. I don't think I can wait. Can we reschedule for, I don't know, tomorrow? I'll buy you a coffee to say I'm sorry. Tomorrow morning, maybe? And Marge said, oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. I'm just going to wander around the sculpture garden then. Yeah, tomorrow, what, you want to say 8:30? I said, great. I'll talk to you then. I hung up, and he started following the doll. And the doll walked, and I followed. The doll moved faster than you would think for such a small doll. It walked and walked, and Ollie followed and followed. And all the way up the block until it got to the big circle on the Hopkins campus, and then it turned left and went into the campus. Ollie was intrigued. For one thing, before, when it was following him, he'd never actually seen it move. Not really. He'd turned around and it was a new position, but he hadn't seen it move. But now, following it, Ollie could see it move, plain as day. It just marched right along like a little person in a fat suit. Kind of awkward, a little bit bouncy backy forthy, but walking. It's a little bit robotic, but Ollie couldn't tell if it was a robot or some weird alien or some illusion, some very strange ghost. Ollie just was not sure. He tried a couple times to call out to the doll and say, hey, Star Head, hey, you, can you tell me what's going on? But the doll didn't answer. It would look back at him, but it wouldn't even stop walking. So Ollie gave up and he just followed. And he thought, if it leads me somewhere dangerous, I don't have to follow. But so far as just leading me onto the Hopkins campus, that's not a big deal. Been here plenty of times. The doll walked up around the circle, over to one of the engineering buildings. The door was a little bit open, and the doll slipped inside. Ollie slipped inside too. The doll had waited for him. It waved its little arm again, and kept walking. Ollie followed. They went down the hall, down some stairs. They were down in like a sub-basement level, like 2 stories below ground. And then they got to a door. It wasn't a particularly descriptive door. There wasn't anything written on it. There wasn't anything notable about it. Sorry. Turn that off. But it smelled kind of like ammonia for some reason. There was, on the bottom of the door, there wasn't like a sweep. There was actually a pretty good gap. About 2 inches or so from the bottom of the door to the floor. And the doll pointed with its head at the gap and then crawled under. And I thought, the doll wants me to go into this ammonia-smelling room. This is bordering on the part where it gets dangerous, but I gotta admit I'm curious. Well, I bent down. The ammonia smell wasn't too bad. It wasn't like poisonous levels of ammonia. It was like cleaning closet level of ammonia. I looked again. Door did kind of look like a cleaning closet, actually. In addition to the gap at the bottom, there was one of those vent registers, like a passive vent in the bottom of the door, like a foot up or so. So Ollie shrugged, stuck one tentacle tentatively through, one arm rather tentatively through the gap under the door, and nothing untoward happened, so he squeezed his way through. There wasn't much light inside. There was a light from the gap in the door. There was a light from the vent register. Well, I couldn't quite see. There were some shiny metal things. It wasn't a big room. Ollie reached up, figuring that there was probably a light switch. And indeed, he found one. Clicked it on. There he saw what this doll had been trying to do. Because lying unconscious in a pile of just like stuff from the room, and it was indeed a janitor's closet, but buckets and mops and pails of cleaning chemicals. There was a person there, a scientist, it looked like, from the way that they were dressed. They had a lab coat on, sensible shoes. There were even safety goggles, so that it wasn't on the person's head, kind of around their neck. Well, Ollie noticed all these details, but he didn't just sit there staring, because from the way that the person was lying and the way that the person was the way all this stuff was disheveled, you could tell that they'd fallen or something, knocked over a bunch of shelves, knocked over some stuff on top of them. This person was in trouble. The first thing Ollie did was he flung the door open. If it is some of this ammonia smell, we got to get it aired out. And he ran over and he turned the person over because they were kind of facing toward the wall. Listened very carefully. They were still... Excuse me. They were still breathing, thank goodness. A little bit shallow, but they're breathing. Ollie checked the pulse, and the pulse was okay. He said, "Hello, can you hear me? Hello, are you all right?" They didn't answer. Ollie, very carefully, lifted the person up, took some of the buckets and stuff off of them, and pulled them gently. They were laying flat. Then Ollie remembered something that he should have remembered earlier, which was that you don't necessarily want to move somebody in that situation, because if their neck is hurt, that can make things worse. But in this case, it was okay. Because they hadn't hurt their neck. When Ollie turned them over, he saw a big welt, a big bruise on their head. The person had very, very, very short hair. Not all the way bald, but just stubble length hair. And there's a big, fresh bruise with a cut right on the top. I thought, oh man, they must have been getting something or whatever. They must have been in this closet, and they fell on their head, and they just collapsed. I gotta get a doctor in here. Then all I noticed is the little star doll was there. Of course it was. It had gone in, but it was there, standing there, next to the person, next to the scientist. The scientist was still not answering, so Ollie addressed the doll and said, "I'm going to go get help." The doll gave him a little nod. And with that, Ollie ran as quickly as he could, which is very quickly. He noticed as they made their way in that there was an office with a secretary there. He made it there as quickly as he could. He said, "Excuse me, you work here, right?" And the lady said, "Yeah, I work here. What's going on?" "There's been some sort of accident down in the basement of the janitor's closet. There's a guy there. Looks like some stuff fell on his head. He may have fallen in the janitor's closet. It's one of the scientists. Didn't recognize him. He's got a big wound on his head. We need campus security and probably an ambulance, like ASAP. I don't know how long they've been unconscious." I said, "Oh my, what does the person look like?" I said, "Kind of tall, I'd say Indian or Southeast Asian, short hair, kind of a goatee." I said, "Oh, that sounds like Dr. Charda." "Okay. Anyway, yes, I'll call the emergency services right now." So I'm going to run back down and see if there's anything else I can do to help. I said, "Okay, thank you." I said, "The basement janitor's closet, right? I said, yes. So Ollie ran back down, and the emergency services people were quick. The campus security got there like 4 minutes later, and about 7 minutes later, the paramedics came. And they they did all their things that they do. They had some smelling salts, so they put them on one of those back injury boards. They kind of immobilize your neck just in case you have a neck injury. They did that very carefully. They got them all strapped in. And once they were strapped in, one of them had some smelling salts they cracked open under the person's neck, or under the person's nose, rather. These like really stinky salts that wake people up. And the guy went, oh, yeah, ow, my head, ow, what happened? What's going on? What's going on here? And one of the officers said, sir, you've had an accident. Something in the janitor's closet looks like it fell on your head. We found you. Well, this guy, Ollie, found you unconscious in the janitor's closet. There's a big bruise on your head. How do you feel otherwise? I said, oh, dizzy, my head hurts. Oh, I think I hurt my shoulder too. But, wait, I was in the middle of an experiment. This is going to sound crazy, but Ollie spoke up. There's a little robot doll. I said, not a robot, but is it okay? I said, yeah, hold on. I saw it just a second ago. I went back into the broom closet. And there, on one of the shelves, just watching the whole thing, was the little star-headed doll. I picked it up, brought it over to the scientist. Said, this is what you're looking for. I said, oh, good, it's okay. Oh, thank goodness, I was worried. You might have gotten hurt and all that. Honestly, we can talk about this later, but not only was it not hurt, it came and found me. I said, it came and found you? I said, yeah, I was in line at a coffee shop off campus. It came and got me. It had me follow it to you. I said, my gosh, that's amazing. That means it's working. It's working, what a day, but oh, my head. I think it's the end of the day today. Sir, what's your name? My name's Ollie, my private eye. Ollie, my name's Dr. Chopra. Come by my office, maybe 2 days from now. I'll tell you all about it. And that was the case of Ollie and the Starhead doll.